Welcome to the stream. I'm Tandy. Today's stream we're going to be playing Izzet Ensoul. This is a blue and red artifact base deck centered around a few very specific cards that kind of, I don't know, really showcase exactly what artifacts can do as like these standalone game pieces. You know, we have a lot of cards that make a rectangle when you play them, for lack of a better term. That's what Dom Harvey calls them. He calls them rectangles. This is rectangle theory in action. It says that whenever a card makes another card, whenever something generates another rectangle, you have to figure out ways, or you don't have to, but it's important to figure out ways to utilize those extra rectangles. And in this deck, we are putting that to the test. The cards that we are playing that generate rectangles, we're playing Spyglass Siren. It's a 1-cost, 1/1 flyer that gives you a map token when it comes into play. Maps themselves aren't that particularly interesting, but they are an artifact. They are a rectangle. Voldaren Epicure, same thing, makes a blood token when it comes in. Deals a damage, doesn't fly, but that's fine. And now we're using cards like that to fuel two very specific things. The first is Ensoul Artifact, and this effect of turning one of your artifacts into a large creature. Ensoul Artifact costs 2. It's very cheap. It's an excellent card for putting on these rectangles because it turns those pieces into something real. Those things have virtual haste when you play the Ensoul after they've already been in play for a turn. And sometimes you can give it special abilities like flying or indestructible when you put it on Darksteel Citadel or some of the other artifacts that already have abilities. Zoetic Glyph is essentially just a slightly bigger version of Ensoul Artifact. It's a little wonky sometimes because it costs 3, but we are playing 22 lands to help compensate for that. And we're hoping that cards like Spyglass Siren, Voldaren Epicure, Combat Courier, we're hoping these give us ways to use our mana so that we're never really flooded. Smuggler's Copter also does a great job of helping us discard lands. But Zoetic Glyph and Ensoul Artifact are two of the primary way to utilize those extra game pieces, and by turning them into a creature. Glyph specifically good because when your opponent kills it, you get a free discover. We have 4 copies of Shrapnel Blast. This is an old school bomb. We toss any of our artifacts at the face, 5 damage. We toss anything at one of their creatures, it's probably going to die. And so we have to, I guess, utilize Shrapnel Blast in a way that turns it away from spot removal and turns it more into a finisher. And because of that, Shrapnel Blast is often the last card you play, which means that it's sometimes bad in multiples if your opponent's very high on life or they're able to contain your early aggression. But for the most part, if you draw 2 Shrapnel Blasts, you just got to deal 10 damage to your opponent, and then there's not a whole lot they can do. You just blow them up. Smuggler's Copter Unban was a huge boon for this deck, giving us an artifact that keeps us from flooding. Inti Seneschal the Sun, another great 2-drop they printed recently that's excellent with our looting effects. And it's just self-sustaining as well because it can attack, or you can attack with something else, discard something, and put a counter. Our deck is very cheap on average, and so I think we'll be able to use Inti's abilities quite regularly. Our 1-drops outside of the Spyglass Siren and Epicure, we have 4 copies of Combat Courier. This one is a little awkward because you're essentially just playing like a really weak card because it has 2 bodies, and in a pinch you can unearth it and then sack it to draw another card. But mostly it's just a 1-cost artifact. I would much rather have like a Savannah Lions that was an artifact to just be more aggressive, but also have enough artifacts for our stuff. Bowmat Courier, very similarly in the same vein as Combat Courier, just a cheap thing to put our stuff on. But Bowmat Courier rewards us for emptying our hand against opponents that aren't playing a lot of blockers. We do have some ways to clear blockers. We're playing 4 copies of Torch the Tower. This is a really efficient removal spell that can take care of a bunch of 1 and 2-drop creatures without any help. But then when you bargain, you can usually get 3s and sometimes even 4-drops with it, depending on what creatures they are and how they're sized. But Torch the Tower, a very efficient removal spell. The bargain is very easy to do in our deck because of things like Spyglass Siren and the artifacts. Our mana base, we have 4 copies of Darksteel Citadel, which is a prime target for the Ensoul artifact effects. We have a couple of utility lands, 1 Den of the Bugbear, 1 copy of Otawara Soaring City, We have one Sokunzon, Crucible of Defiance, and then the rest are just dual lands. We got one mountain in case we fight against Field of Ruin or whatever. Sideboard, 3 Frostodon. This is for the Amalia matchup, but it can come in some other spots too. 2 Unlicensed Hearse for anti-graveyard like Phoenix. 2 Running Volley for wide-based aggressive decks, but also decent against things like Ledger Shredder. 4 copies of Spell Pierce. This is a clean swap for Torch to Tower in matchups where there are very few targets for removal. Alpine Moon and 2 Damping Spheres come in against exactly Lotus Field. And Lotus Field's been getting more popular lately, so let's just give them some hammers, yeah? All right. Let's play League. All right, because we'll lead with Epicure over Spyglass. Maybe that's not right, actually. Maybe we should leave Spyglass because it's more likely to connect in the air. And then we can play the River Glide on red because our hand's red heavy. How's it, Tandy Fammy? Oh, we're doing pretty good, man. One of our cats is getting old, and she just started kind of pooping wherever she wants. Oh, Lotus Field opponent. This might be a joke matchup. This might be the easiest matchup in the world. We'll see. All right, we're going to go for double Epicure. And then we'll NT next turn and discard the Torch to Tower. Obviously, they can just combo kill us or whatever if we don't finish them off in time, but our deck is a lightning fast sometimes. Main phase Impulse, love to see it. Yeah, Pickaxe is pretty weak against blue-white for sure. The Indestructible doesn't matter when everything gets exiled, and itself doesn't do a lot. Alright, so let's go Inti. Let's go attack, attack, attack. We'll discard. I don't know if we'll need the extra land, and they might play an Arboreal Grazer. So let's just discard Shivan Reef and see what we find off the top. And we'll put a counter on the Spyglass Siren. Top card exiled is another Inti. We'll just leave that alone. And then we'll go ahead and put a... I guess because we have 2 red already, we'll just go ahead and play this on blue. I'll map an Epicure, just because we're keeping the Torch to Tower for now. Smuggler's Copter. Put that in the graveyard. At this point, I think we just want Shrapnel Blast only. They're going to, like, Lotus Field this turn, and then they have to kill us on 4. Normally, they kill on 5, like, as a Goldfish. But they need, like, an Accelerator to go on 4. But if they Lotus Field on 3 and then copy on 4, they can do some, like, untapping stuff that's kind of annoying. Alright, cool. So they do have the Grazer. And I can just sack one of the blood tokens. Oh, they don't even have the Lotus Field. I think that they're just clowned. Alright, so let's go Torch with Bargain. Scry 1, Spyglass on top. I guess we'll put it on top because it's just something that we can hit off of Inti here. Alright, so then we'll play the Siren. I guess we can die next turn still. If they Lotus Field copy it and do some untapping stuff. We'll just make everything mid-sized. Yeah, anyway, sorry, Reptar. Our cat is getting older, and I don't want to, like, gross anyone out, but she just started pooping on the floor. Just wherever she wants. And I spent yesterday just, like, hard scrubbing an entire room worth of floor. It was gross. But that's my life. That's what I deal with every day. But other than that, it's fine. Everything's going pretty good. Torch of Tower can come out. These 7, I think, are coming in. Yeah, Lockdown's gross. The Spell Pierces, you can play Spell Piercer, you can play Stub. I think with Zoetoglyph, you can make an argument to play stub instead, but it's kind of expensive. So I think Spell Pierce is just better on average by itself. We're gonna trim a couple of the 3 drops because they're just slow. Yeah, so we actually have puppy pads that we put down for one of the other cats who gets in the litter box and then hangs her ass out of the litter box and then pees and poops on the side of it. And so we just have to put puppy pads around the litter box. It's my life is kind of comical when it comes to that. We have a pretty good opener. Epicure and Ensoul with Spell Pierce backup on 3. Might go Inti on 2 into Ensoul on 3. Depending on what we draw, we might not use the Inti on 2. We might Ensoul on 3 and then Inti on, or Ensoul on 2 and then Inti on 3 with Spell Pierce backup. Alright, they might have Beseiju. But if they have Beseiju, we can just play Spyglass Siren. I think this is fine. This is just so much damage, and Beseiju is the only thing I really care about here. And if we get to, and next turn they're very likely to just Lotus Field, and so I don't need anything. Luckily they just don't even have it, so they could go float Lotus Field, untap it somehow. I guess they don't have blue mana, so untapping Lotus Field seems close to impossible. Yeah, GG. All right, we're here for round number 2. I would love to be on the play. Maybe we'll just win all 5 die rolls and 5-0 10-0 because this deck's cracked. I appreciate it. I don't know. I've been having some issues with Google Drive lately. Don't tell anybody though. But if I tell anybody, they'll get mad. They're like, nothing's wrong with Google Drive. It's the best thing ever. Hive. All right, so I'm not gonna Inti this turn anyway. So let's attack for 1, and to play around Fatal Push, we'll just play a couple more 1-drops and not worry about much else. We'll use this for red, this for colorless. Hold on to the River Glide for as long as we can. Now we'll go Inti, attack, put a counter probably on Spyglass. But depending on what they do, we might put one on Epicure or Combat Courier to trade. Alright, so we'll go Inti. We're going to go attack with these 2 and put a counter on the Combat Courier. And discard Shivan Wraith. Top card Soken's on, that's great. We can play that as our land and then map. And we'll map onto the Epicure so we can maybe attack through the Harvester. Okay. Getting a land is fine. Inti's so strong, man. Trespasser is going to eat Inti, but we can play another one. And then we'll attack with the Combat Courier again. Discard Chivalry. Put a counter on the Courier. Fire Bluff, another land. We can Blood EOT. And that'll give us another Inti hit. And they're already at 10. I mean, we've barely done anything. We got Shadow Blast we can draw. We got an Inti that we're going to hit here. Fatal Push on the Combat Courier. That's fine. Any consideration for mapping Inti to try to get it out of Blood Tithe range? Yeah. I mean, that's certainly a play we could have made. I just assumed that they had Fatal Push, and so I was just like not worrying too much about that thing. Alright. Trespasser coming in. We'll just take it for sure. Putting a counter on this would have probably been good. Alright, let's discard Steam Vents, hold on to the pathway. We'll get a draw card, and then we'll get the Inti ability. Alright, found a Smug. Oh, Glyph is good. Oh, we don't have any artifacts for it right now, though. Shrapnel Blast. So let's go... Copter? Maybe I buy Gigantha? And now we have Zoetic and Shrapnel Blast and Smuggler's Copter all active. We are getting lowish on life, but if they tap out for Shieldred here, I think they're dead. Alright, so here's Fable. They're kind of F6ing. I don't believe that they have another Fatal Push. They might, but I don't believe that they do. Hmm. I'm just gonna go for the kill. I feel like if the game goes too much longer, I'm gonna lose, so... Yeah. We'd love to loot. Just pitch defense. Yeah, the obvious play is not always the best play, though, but in this situation it was, I think, because we're just falling too far behind. Bang! And we get to discover? That's nice. Maybe we'll find another Shrapnel Blast. Alright, against Rakdos midrange, I like the Torch to Towers, and I don't really want to side anything out. I don't love any of the removal. I think I'm just going to hit go. This is a matchup where we want something like Wedding Announcement, but we just don't have it. Flying a Copter is important? Oh, for sure. Copter is nuts. Booyah. Alright. Gigantha. We have a lot of Ensoul artifacts. I'm going to keep this hand because we have the Darksteel Citadel, and this hand is pretty safe against Thoughtseize. Because if they take Copter, we still have stuff to do. The Ensoul on Darksteel is also just like pretty tough for them to beat sometimes, I think. This is a situation where I would love for them to play a 2-drop creature that I can kill. Perfect. Alright, so we'll go turn 2 Copter. I think Copter's good here. Then we can go like maybe Epicure, Crew, attack, and then if we draw a land naturally, we'll probably just Ensoul the Darksteel Citadel. Main phase Blood is always a good sign. That means they just have nothing to do, and they want to see if they can draw a 2-drop. They might have like a lot of removal. I'm going to play Epicure over Ensoul because I can't attack with the Darksteel Citadel here with it. But I will discard a Torch looking for a land. We found one. And now the question is, do I crew? And I think the answer is yes, because it just... What are they going to kill it with? They're probably... If I don't crew, they're going to kill the Epicure, right? So, with Stomp or something. So, might as well crew. Let them push this thing. Oh, they just don't have it? Happy day. I'm going to discard this other Torch to Tower. I'm going to keep all these. Next turn, we can Ensoul this and crew this and attack for a huge chunk, even through Shieldred. Brotherhood's End, also not that bad, because it can only kill this or this. Datsugu only kills this. Alright. Land would be okay. Oh, my Courier is pretty good too. Swing for 5. Maybe we should have put it on the copter and played Bomat. Now they need like Liliana the Veil, which most people don't even play anymore. They didn't have the answer for a copter last turn, so we're just gonna go ahead and put Ensoul on it, attack for 10. And they don't have anything? Cool. And we'll discard Zoetic Glyph, I guess. We got plenty of Ensouls. Alright, so they have a blocker here. They're going to take 5 down to 6, and then we have to sweat a removal spell on the Smugglers. We can also, if we draw land, we can go Bomat plus Ensoul it, or we just play these two and then Ensoul the turn after. They're attacking, which means that they're just going to Wrath me. So they're probably going to Extinction Event on even. That's fine. As long as they don't kill the one with a Darksteel Citadel, I'm in great shape. So if we Bomat Courier and then put a thing on it, I don't think we do that yet. I think we just play these two. What is the paid actor doing? Opponent is saying that they lose to this deck a bunch. Why do your opponents just play into it? Mine never do. I don't know. I don't know, but we did get full value out of some stuff. GG's. Opponent had Path of Peril and some removal. Hidetsugu's second right wasn't enough. Stevens untapped. Sleight of hand. All right, Phoenix time. This will be a big test for us, but I think Torch the Tower might be really good for us. We'll play Epicure first because it requires colored mana and Combat Courier does not. Probably just going to make a 5/5 blood and hope they don't kill it. Maybe I shouldn't though. Alright, let's just go for killing them. If they have the axe for it, there's not a whole lot we can do about it. And it's really just trading 1 for 1. I could have gone maybe Combat Courier and then sack the blood or the Courier. I think I'd rather sack the Courier in that spot. Alright, so there you go. Galvanic Iteration into Opt. So this is going to trigger the Ledger Shredder, but it's not going to do anything. I'm just going to attack for 5. They're not going to chump block, and then I'm going to Shrapnel Blast them, and then they die. So I guess Phoenix is a good matchup too. Ensoul Artifact, huh? Alright, so I guess we just attack with both to bait the block on the Epicure. Yeah, hers helps as well. Alright, they go to 5. No free spells in the format. Alright, hers comes in. Spell Pierce can come in. I don't think Torch the Tower is that good in the matchup. So I think I'm just going to bring in some Spell Pierces. Because they're going to be heavy removal and probably some Spell Pierces themselves, we're going to trim a couple of Shrapnel Blasts so that we don't get obliterated by having our thing get countered. I know that it looked pretty good there. I mean, it always looks good when it kills the opponent, right? And maybe cutting them ever is a mistake, but that's something that we have to learn. My gut says that we should be trimming some of our more high-risk cards against them. because of how good they are at interacting with our creatures. But maybe that's just not true anymore. All right, leading off with Epicure. On 2, we'll probably play Copter because it's more likely to have removal for Inti than they do anything for Copter. And I don't really want to discard anything without mana up. Let's see if this resolves. Brotherhood's in can kill these two or this. Pieces owe the puzzle. And they only get Fire Impulse. That's incredible for us. Alright, we'll attack with both. I'm going to put a counter on the Copter so it dodges the Fire Impulse. I discard Chivalry. We've already played a land. Perhaps that was a mistake, but I really wanted the Spy Bluff Canal down so we didn't take more damage. Found a play, though. That's good news. We'll loot for sure. I think we can pitch a backup Darksteel here. We just want more raw things. Ensoul Artifact, but we can't play it. But we can play the Spyglass. Let's go ahead and do that. Alright, Ensoul goes away. So even if they kill our board with Brotherhood's in, they only kill the creatures or the artifacts. They can't really get both. The Ledgerman. Alright, but it's still just a 4, so we can still attack with Copter. Alright, I'm going to Glyph on Blood. Glyph as extra in Soul has been pretty good so far. I'm really digging it. We'll crew with Spyglass. And then we'll attack with at least these two. Copter getting the axe here, looks like. Oh, they're going to give it to the Glyph. So we get the Discover 3, even better. Bomat Courier, yeah. They get a loot here. Maybe that was bad to play it. It's only a 3/5, so if they do put a counter on it, we can just attack with these two. But if they discard a land, they discarded a Treasure Cruise, so now I'm just going to attack with everything. They'll probably block here anyway to soak damage, so they take 2. If they take 5, I'm very happy with that. So now they're at 8, and we have 7 direct in hand. Should be pretty easy to kill from here. They could obviously have something for my Shrapnel Blast, but we can maybe wait until they're in much worse position. Let's crew. And I'm going to map on here. Spyglass Siren on top. Put it in the grave. Let's attack for 5 only. Because I'm assuming that they have a removal spell for the Copter. I guess they don't. That's good news. We'd love to loot. We haven't played a spell yet. Keep the Epicures because they just do more damage. Maybe we should discard the land. Alright, I think we play nothing. I'm going to buy Gigantha. Because, really, if we overextend here, the only way we're losing is to sweepers. Obviously, if they kill the Copter, it makes our play look bad, but it's not even that much worse, because we can still attack, play an Epicure, play Shrapnel Blast. Okay, this is how we can lose. They're gonna double time walk here, but they don't have any pressure, so they basically get one free turn and then one regular turn. And they're spending most of the resources, but they get a couple draws. Why does the opponent let this copter live so long? They couldn't kill it. It was always too big. They killed Zoetic instead earlier, but that was like the only time they could have done something different. Alright, so they get one attack for 3, and now they get their last turn. They can only attack for 10 if they have a land. One card in hand. Opt off the top. Yeah, they axed a 5/4 Zoetic Glyph. Yeah, they could have killed the copter instead, I guess. Alright. They found Prismari command, but they can't play it. They should play... I guess they can't... Okay, so they have Axe Prismari. So if they have Axe Prismari, that means that they are dead to this plus Shrapnel Blast, so that's fine. Alright. 3060. Chad, this deck looks great. Opener is good. We're gonna keep. Oh, you're talking about from the next set. Yeah. So you'd have to do card. Case of the Filched Falcon. No cards found with that name yet. The bot's not updated yet, I guess. It's even budget friendly, only 60 ticks. That's kind of rad. This might be the deck. Is this the deck? Dude, if I smush blue-white, I'm in. Thanks for the follow, Nonus. Appreciate it. I don't know if you allow links. I'll click it. Look, when you start coming in asking about cards and not being a bot, it's okay to post links, but it's mostly for new guys that, I don't know. When this case enters a battlefield, investigate. Very cool for 1 blue. To solve, you control 3 or more artifacts. Very easy to solve. Once solved, you can spend 3 and sack it. Put 4 counters on a non-artifact. It becomes a bird. Okay, so this is kind of like a... This is like Zoetic Glyph, but self-sustaining. That's interesting. I'm gonna go for Inti. Oh, it just resolved. I guess I have 2 shots to find a 1-drop here. So let's go Copter first before we discard with Inti, so we can see if we want to play the thing. Looting. I'm going to discard a backup. Actually, I'll just discard this land. Another Inti on top. Do we want to discard? I think the answer is no. I'm just going to map. And we're going to map onto the Copter since it's likely to survive a Wrath effect. Found Soken's on. That's cool. You say I choose. What's good, Tandy? Long time no see. What's up, Interrupter Jones? Thank you for the 13-month subscription. Welcome back to the Todd Squad. Appreciate you, family. All right, so we'll go channel for 3 and use one of those to through the Copter. The Field of Ruin is going to blow up a land here, so I want to basically make it so they don't have a reason to use the field. We found Shrapnel Blast on top, but we don't have the mana to use it. But we're churning. All right, so let's go Copter first. Shark Typhoon for 1, that's fine. Yeah, but sometimes that's okay. Discovering into Torture Blast is not that bad in the right spots. Yeah, we'll loot. I want to keep the land. I'm going to discard this Inti, I guess. Do we want to discard with Inti? Not really. You got to remember, we're getting like free looks at stuff on the NT, but using the NT's ability, we actually do have to discard. And since we can't play either of these, we're just going to play our land, say go, and then hopefully they don't have verdicts. They have verdicts. It is what it is. We can still kill them. We can go Glyph on Copter, attack for 5. Main phase Deluge? Main phase Deluge? Main phase Deluge? What the heck? That, I mean, they just didn't have it, right? I mean, they just didn't have verdicts, so what are they going to do? Just do nothing instead? Alright, I don't know if I want to show them Zoetic. They know I have Shroud and Blast on my deck. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so we didn't have to show them anything because of the NT ability. Cool. Completely. Alright, 4 Spell Pierce in. 4 Torture Tower out. That's a good idea, Tom. Good to think about. What's up, Mason? You want to try Fiery Temper in a shell like this? I don't think you want to do that with all the artifact stuff. Maybe you could just do like blue-red Copter aggro with it, but I think Fiery Temper is a trap. I think it's been a trap for a long time. I am a big Fiery Temper fan, but it's like standard playable, maybe, and like definitely not Pioneer playable, especially not anymore. Alright, we get Epic here down here, I guess. This hand is also excellent. Deck seems sweet. It's very cool. Alright, I think I'm just going to attack for 2 and play Copter, and then on 3, I'll play Ensoul plus Spell Pierce backup. I'm going to shock here with the Steam Vents. It's likely coming in untapped no matter what, and I don't want my opponent to know that I have a 1-drop thing on 3 when I shock. Wow, I did not expect this to resolve either. So I guess if the big blowout here would be temporary lockdown, but it's just a 2 for 1. And I'm about to give you away. That's a bummer, but we got to rebuild. And we're going to tap out even though it leaves Spell Pierce not up, because they're likely to have like a 4-drop that matters and unlikely to have like a 3-drop on their own turn that matters that much. Anything that they play is likely going to be main phase. Second lockdown, that's hard to beat. Second lockdown's hard to beat. Alright, here you go. Maybe I just do this. Play around Veto. Keep drawing the mountain against the Field of Ruin guy. Third lockdown? Alright. Okay. Alright. So they had their good draw. We lost the game, chat. We lost the game. Dang. Maybe I should bring in the Dawn. I could probably win that game if I played differently. Just my playing the odds instead of playing it safe. But you got to be really aggressive against blue-white. You just got to kill him. We'll keep this hand. Ryumi, I was extremely disappointed by it, if I'm being honest. I just really wanted them to announce something good. I get a smuggler down. I might go for a Zoetic next turn, but I might wait until after they play their first lockdown. Just so hard to play around everything. Now, Lorcana's fun, man, but I don't know. They just like don't have any scheduled tournaments of their own, so they're just relying completely on the rest of the community to do all the tournaments for them. It's just like not how to start your game. Well, the announcement wasn't anything. It was like, we're gonna do worlds. Great. We're gonna do things later. Okay, why don't you let me know when you're doing them? Yeah, the Den of the Bugbear should be pretty good here. I don't really want to Inti. I feel like I'm just getting locked down no matter what. And so maybe it's just Zoetic Glyph. All right, well, now if they go for something to kill the Glyph, like a lockdown or whatever, we have a Discover 3, so we might be able to go in on them. Obviously, if we hit Shrapnel Blast or Spell Pierce, it's bad, but we have a lot of good hits. Yeah, the classic Magic announcement, announce to announce. What's the TLDR? Announce to announce. Discovered card. Where is the discovered card? It's a Shrapnel Blast. Okay, so we don't have the artifact for it. Oh, it goes to our hand, though. That's nice. Alright, so we'll go Spyglass Siren. No. Epicure. Maybe it's just Epicure Spyglass. Hold up Shrapnel Blast. Maybe main phase of Shrapnel Blast. I think I'm going to go ahead and do it while they're tapped out. Sack Blood. I think Map is better than Blood. Maybe not with Inti, but in general. I'm glad the Discover goes to hand. I forgot about that for a second. I was bummed that I hit Shrapnel Blast. Now I'm less bummed. Alright, we'll go Glyph on the Darksteel Citadel. It'll probably get exiled by something, but maybe they're dead. And now if the Glyph goes to the graveyard, then we get a Discover again. They're bouncing the land. Okay, that's fine. I mean, that's like best case scenario, I think. Do I want to put it in play? Click the card to cast it. I think... No. I think I'm going to put it in my hand. I'm going to go ahead and map on probably Epicure. It's less valuable. Found a Citadel, so now we can activate the Den. Yeah, I like the Rockstar Stitch. I mean, I like Rockstar Stitch in general. It's like one of my favorite cards. So we can just fire up Den. They didn't have much last turn, but that doesn't mean shit. I'm gonna Inti. Let's see if Inti resolves. And if they counter this... Absorb. Okay. Alright, we're just gonna buy Jeg. It's so hard to physically kill blue-white, man. They just always have some little trick. Some little removal, some little way to gain life. Alright, I'm not gonna attack with Den, I don't think. But it's better to attack earlier rather than later because of Field Ruin and such. We'll attack here and see what they do. Shark. Alright, so they're going to eat one of these and go to 5. And then if I ever draw Shrapnel Blast, I can maybe kill them. And I think I just go for Gigantha. But maybe I go for Combat Courier as well. Kind of force them to Wrath, and then the Den will get in there for a bunch, and then I can Epicure them. We can still get hosed by Settle the Wreckage. Deck looks amazing. I mean, it looks really good so far. I mean, it's difficult to navigate against blue-white, but I mean, we're kicking everyone else's butt, and I think we're pretty likely to win this game. Now we're really likely to win this game, I think. Tuck. All right. Tuck is... They're not dead, technically. All right, so we'll go face, they have to block. Face, they have to block, and then I'll send the one at Teferi. Each opponent... So it doesn't hit the Planeswalker. Okay. Alright, so I'll have this one go at the Teferi. Because we can't quite get them to dead. And I'll just hold the Spyglass. We could have put them to 1 and left it to Teferi, but I think that's a mistake. If they shock here, Epicure's lethal. Verdict. Okay, we can maybe lethal them here with the Combat Courier. Oh, now we can lethal them. So we'll go blue with Combat Courier. Oh, I guess we'll have to resolve the Epicure next turn. We know the top card is Gigantha, so I don't think Inti is correct. So let's go Spyglass Siren. And then we'll put a map token on the Courier. Top card's Gigantha. We'll keep the Gigantha. 5/5 is actually maybe hard for them to beat. And then we can just sack the Combat Courier to draw a card and puts them to 1. I guess I could have maybe bend the Gigantha in case I drew a red source. I could Epicure that turn to lethal. Love to see that. Otawara on the lockdown is very appealing because it plays around Absorb. I can also just play Epicure if they have to absorb it, and then I can play Gigantha. Save. I guess the Otawara is gone then. Yeah. I think I just say go in Otawara. Just save the Epicure for when shields are completely down. They know I have Gigantha. Unfortunately, we don't have like an instant to punish them or whatever. But Otawara bouncing this, getting back Copter plus Combat Courier is kind of cool. Alright, so let's bounce the lockdown. They have 3 cards in hand. They might just concede to this. Memory Delusion response. Okay. Yeah, but just hitting this with Otawara is not really that big of a deal. Like, I need to threaten lethals so that they have to do something that takes absorb mana offline. And so now we go... Oh, that should be more than enough. So now we go crew this. We threaten the attack. They have to bite. Once they bite, we have Spell Pierce and Epicure. The Spell Pierce makes this very easy. I had to play around the Emperor, and so Spell Pierce here is an easy way to do it. But if I didn't have Spell Pierce, I would have just attacked with this, and then they go for Emperor, and they minus on this, and then I can sack it so they don't gain life. All right, we're 4-0. Let's get this trophy, yeah? All right, playing against Ari Zax. He was on Lowe's Field the other day, I think. Turn 2 Ensoul should be enough to kill him before he gets online. Can have Sage you next turn maybe, but it's just not enough. This makes me not want to have any anti things in the sideboard. I don't give a fuck! Thanks so much to Darkuno for the 62-month tier 2 out of his mind. He's cracked. All right, Inti, we're going to give some trample to the blood token. And hopefully we hit a land. We'll just discard one of our 3 copters. All right, we hit another thing. Very cool. We're all a little fucked up, Cam. That's okay. Appreciate you, buddy. So they can go get Beseiju, and they can blow this up now, but that gives us a Steam Vent so we can Zoetic. And then they can maybe not die, but they're very low on resources now. All right, and then we'll put a counter on the Darksteel, and we'll just discard another Copter. And this, 3, 4, 5, 6, they should go to 1. And then they can kill us. It's very difficult with how few resources they have, but they can certainly do it. So let's hope they don't. All right, well, this is how it starts. +1 mana. All right, we won game number 1. We're on a path to the easiest trophy ever conceived, chat. Sorcerer Tower can come out. 1 or 2 Zoetic Glyphs. And all of our 1-drops are good. I think I'm going to trim a Copter, actually. Hi, YouTube. Oh, yeah, this one's definitely going on YouTube. This has been a fun league. I knew I was going to have fun today when I started working on this deck. Keep. Alright, so sequencing here might be a little tough. So I guess we can't Ensoul plus Spell Pierce on 3 no matter what, unless we put it on the Courier. I think we did. I don't want this lane entering tapped ever. Interesting spot, though. Now I can go for like the straight up Ensoul on 2 Smash, which is usually pretty good because they have to do this. Alright, well that's fine. Now we should definitely go for the Ensoul. I've been liking the deck. Oh, if I think it's great, but I think you're really sleeping on the Glyph. I thought Fable looked really bad when I was watching people play it, and I am confident that the Glyph is better. But I've only played 5 matches with the deck, so who knows. Untap. Alright, well, the Voyaging Satyr changes things. I still don't think I bring in Torch the Tower, but we could easily be dead next turn. I mean, I guess we could maybe die this turn, but it's very hard to do with only 1 Lotus Field. But the Voyaging Satyr changes things because of Hidden Strings untaps both. So Leer, okay. I'm not afraid of the Leer yet. So I guess I'll go for a Shadow Blast on the Leer and then Spell Pierce if I need to. Maybe I should just played Inti. Lockdown's gonna hit the Satyr. So the problem is they're just gonna have 3 cards and get to untap. I think I just Shadow Blast face. And then just try to peel another blast to kill him, or another Ensoul thing, and then force him to block with Leer. The Spell Pierce is dead now, basically, because of the Inti. But I didn't feel like this is scary enough. We have the Combat Curve from the grave if we need it. So we can bring it back for blue and then sack it to draw. I think I'm just going to play Inti and tap Spire Bluff. I don't feel like I'm going to win the game, but we're not dead yet. They can copy the Lotus Field and start going from there, but again, Spell Pierce doesn't do anything against the Leer. Maybe I should have just killed this, but I thought my position with them at 10 with 2 Lotus Fields and no Leer versus 5 with 2 Lotus Fields Leer is made it worth shrapneling face. Too many lands this game? Yeah. Happens. The games are over so quick that it really like puts a spotlight on how rough it is to like draw too many lands in a short time frame, you know? All right, we're gonna shock with Steam Vents, and then we can maybe bounce Leer at some point. I'm not afraid of Leer yet, even though they can Sylvan Scrying. The Sylvan Scrying's not that big a deal. If all they do is cast Sylvan Scrying out of the graveyard, I'm pretty happy about it. They'll probably go get Boseiju, but maybe they go get another Otawara. They play Botanical, so they're going to spend this to bounce this, probably. They can do it EOT, I guess. Alright, we also get a card off of the Inti, which is sick. It's a Copter. But we have to know the Inti's getting hit with Otawara, probably. And so we're not doing any damage. Okay, well. Non-land, so we can Glyph on the Darksteel Citadel. They bounce the Glyph. If we activate the Den, they have to bounce the Inti. And then they take 4 down to 1. Because they can't bounce the Den. This is tough. We can Combat Courier for a blue, then Glyph it. Also have Lair to block as a 2/2. They have Odawara in hand that they're going to use to bounce the Inti. But I think it probably is still this. But we just, like, we lose the Copter. But I think we need to force the Odawara. Counter on the Den. We can't put a counter on the Den. They're going to bounce this before I attack. We're not going to get a counter on the Den. It's not going to happen. They're going to take 4 damage and go to 1. So the question is, do I Smugglers, Combat Courier attack? Alright. I think it's still right to do this, to force them, and it also puts them to 1 so they're dead to Epicure off the top if... But this also forces the Odawara so they have less mana next turn if they need it. I thought they had to... I thought this was non-land, man. Annoyed. Alright, so let's discard Spire Bluff. We did find Epicure, but we can't play it this turn. They would bounce Glyph over the land probably, but maybe not. Alright, I messed up. Maybe. We'll see. There are 2... We can beat just casting the one guy. Yeah, so Odawara is weird. It doesn't say non-land permanent. It says artifact, creature, enchantment, or planeswalker. Interesting. Alright. Should I just animate the Den and attack? And we can put a counter on the 1/1? They have Lair. I gotta remember about Inti can't be countered. We can escape Courier too. Does that matter? I think it does, actually. Good call. Because we can attack. Put a counter on it. If we get to attack with everybody. Even if we don't get to attack with everybody, I think we're still good. At least we force a Leer block, which makes their prospects of winning much lower. Alright, so we'll attack with everybody. We'll put a counter on... I'm going to discard this Spell Pierce, probably. Alright, so now this is threatening lethal with 3 creatures, so they have to have 2 bounce spells or animate as a 1/1 with a Boseiju on top of it. Alright, so they have the Lair. Now the question is, do they have the Disenchant? They do. Okay. Yeah, we'll go get... Did I exile yet? We get a Copter? No, it hasn't gone on the stack yet. I guess we'll just get Mountain. Because we can still play the Epicure. Alright, play another Combat Courier. Alright, so we're going to lose the Inti and the Combat Courier. Does this trample on its own? Oh, this tramples. So this is a force block. Alright, go ahead and play the Epicure, put him to 1. Yo, T-Spain, thanks for the 56 months. Took a month break from Magic. It's been nice. Glad to hear. Alright, well, I guess maybe attacking with the Din was better there. But Din didn't let me put the combat courier back either, so maybe not. Gaming Pastor, thanks for the follow. Appreciate you. Yeah, Lorcana's fun. We were talking a little bit about that earlier. One porn is probably over. I mean, yeah. They sideboard in such a weird way, though. Oh, yeah. Let's go. Chats. Chatting? Are we chatting? Yeah. Easiest trophy of my life? Oh, yeah. Zoetic Glyph was excellent. We beat Lotus Field twice. I doubt we need Damping Spheres and Alpine Moons. Ruby. Oh! Oh, yeah. All right. Let's go over the things that I liked and didn't like about the deck. So for starters, I just want to say I didn't mulligan very much. 22 lands with a lot of outlets to use your mana makes that a possibility. Combat Courier from the graveyard was actually surprisingly good. Multiple times. Bomat Courier having natural haste. I didn't activate the ability, and I think Gingerbrute might be better. Epicure, excellent as always. Spyglass Siren, awesome. Torchlit Tower can probably go down one. Go down to 3 Torchlit Towers, probably okay. And then maybe you would board only 3 Spell Pierce. Extra Zoetic Glyphs as extra Ensoul artifacts was nice. Having 22 land made it not very difficult to cast, and sometimes 3 drops have been hard to cast in the past for this strategy. Smuggler's Copter, excellent. Shrapnel Blast, Inti, excellent. Mana Base felt solid. Darksteel Sigil didn't hurt us that much. The one Den of the Bugbear came in clutch multiple times. The pitch lands of Otawar and Sokanzan are great with Inti in multiple ways. Cost less and you get the cards off of them. If we have a 1-cost legend that we want to play, let's say, I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but if there was like a 1-cost artifact legend, like a Zabaz Glimmerwasp, but there's not that, there's a different one. Hope of Girper, I think. Something like that might be good for making Otawar and Sokanzan better. And it's a one-of, it's a flyer, it's an artifact. So that's something we can maybe look to like shore up a couple of the numbers. Right now, I think we're at probably 52 to 55 main deck cards that are just like nice and tight. Sideboard, though, probably got 10 cards that can change. I am not sold on Ferocidon. I don't know if it's necessary. Unlicensed Hearse is probably solid. I'm not sure that it's better than Tormod's Crypt. Tormod's Crypt being a 0-cost artifact, quite strong with things like Ensoul Artifact, but Hearse is better on its own, obviously. Running Volley as a 2-of. We haven't played against Mono White aggro in a while. Spirits in a while. Greasefang's basically gone. I would say that Hearse is probably unnecessary. Running Volley probably unnecessary, but maybe in some numbers of both is okay. I didn't use my sideboard very much, but I think that that's kind of par for the course for a deck like Ensoul Artifact. You just use your sideboard when you need it, and otherwise you just play your main deck and just beat the shit out of them. And that's kind of what we went for, and we pretty easily got a trophy, so I'm pretty stoked about it. This is going to be it for the stream today. Thanks for hanging. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to come check out my live stream. Weekday afternoons, we play Magic Online Leagues, twitch.tv/Tandy. If you're interested in written articles, make sure to check out patreon.com/Tandy for sideboard guides. Very good chance I write about this deck for my Patreon tomorrow. If you're interested in this deck, make sure to join the Patreon. If you want to know how to sideboard, I'm going to do some work on this off stream where I am going to basically figure out the sideboard that I like, and then we're going to build a sideboard map for the Patreon. Thank you so much to our sponsors, Brainstorm Brewery. Brainstorm Brewery is a sweet slice of life magic podcast. I have guests Corbin Hostler, Caslin, DJ, and Jason Alt talking about magic, as well as things happening in the community. There's new episodes on Fridays. Check out Moxfield. They're a great decks building website that we use for all of our deck lists. You can also check out all of my deck lists on our Moxfield page. Thank you so much, Apex Gaming, for sponsoring us. You can check out apexgaming.gg if you want a list of awesome tournaments. As well as Season 4 of the Apex Invitational Series starting up in April. Lastly, big shout out to our brand new sponsor, Games of Comics Paradise. Games of Comics Paradise is a game store out of Fairfax, Virginia. They have singles, they have tournaments. Make sure to check out gcparadise.com to get anything you need from Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Lorcana, and Magic the Gathering at gcparadise.com. I'm Tandy. This has been another episode of playing some Pioneer. Thanks for hanging. We'll see you next time.